How do you overcome adversity?
Address it for what it is, turn it on its head, and use it for your benefit.
We are here with a football player, a baller. We're here with an investor and just an all-around great guy. Manti is here on the Get Wealth Fit Show, and we're doing this one live in the studio. Manti, welcome to the show, my man.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right, I want to go back. December 8th, New York City, the capital of the world, right? You got the eyes of the sports world on you. It's the Heisman ceremony. You're sitting there about to, hear the news of who would be selected. What's going through your head on that night? Take us back to that night.
First, I hope I win. That's the first thing that's going through my mind. I had my parents with me, and it was kind of the tail end of that awards ceremony circuit for me. I first started off in Carolina, where I won the Nagurski Award. Then I went to Texas, where I won the Lombardi Award, then Florida, where I won the Lott Maxwell, Walter Camp, and Bednarik Award, and then I went to New York.
You were on a roll, man.
Yeah, we was on a roll. It was definitely a blessing. But yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm just blessed to be there. As a kid, growing up in Hawaii, your goals, you thought of it,
yeah, but
you never really thought you could make it that far. The goal was always make it to college. Get to college, play good football so that college can be paid for, you can get a scholarship. So I'm sitting in New York, and it's a different city.
Yeah.
I'm an island boy. Now I'm in the Big Apple, and I'm just kind of like, just there's a lot coming, but there's definitely feeling blessed for sure.
Who were your role models growing up? So when you were thinking, I want to go to college or maybe go to that NFL, did you have any role models or guys that you looked to that left the island or maybe were mainland boys?
My role models were my parents. My mom and my dad. I think I was one of the fortunate ones. And the older I get, I understand how fortunate I was to have the parents that I had that show me not only through their words but their action of the importance of hard work, sacrifice, family, love. So growing up, every boy's first superhero is their dad, and for me, that was it. My dad was that guy that I watched, and how he moved, and how he put our family first, and everything that he worked his tail off. And seeing that as a little boy, it made me want to be just like him.
Yeah.
And to not only just be like him, but hopefully give back to him. And then I have my loving mother who, I always ran to my mom and cried with my mom, but with my dad, I kind of, try to be that tough guy. I didn't want to, I didn't want him to, I always wanted to make him proud.
Yeah.
And my mom was always that shoulder to cry on. So my two role models are definitely them too.
What was the sacrifices like that they made so that you could get to where you are today?
Yeah, so growing up as a kid, you never realize that you don't have. You're always grateful for what you do have. But as I got older, I understood the sacrifices they made on my behalf and my sister. So I'm the oldest of 7 kids. So we have an army at our house.
An army.
My parents, they had the foresight to send me and my sisters to a private school. So we live in Laie, which is a town on the north side of the island of Oahu in Hawaii. And we went to the local elementary school, Laie Elementary School. But my parents always had a vision to send us to a private school. And the reason for that was for academic reasons, because they wanted to put us in the best position to receive an education so that we could be successful in our future. So that private school just happened to be an hour and a half from where we lived.
Wow.
Yeah, so ever since I took the test in 6th grade, I got accepted in 7th grade. And so for those years in intermediate, middle school, and high school, my dad would drive
Yeah, there's
me
no
and my
bus
sisters.
coming an
There's
hour and a half, right?
There's no
Yeah.
school bus.
Yeah.
I wish, but my dad would drive us all the way to school.
Yeah.
We'd go to school, and that school wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Pick us up. When it was football season, it was even worse because now we're not done until 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And now we have to drive all the way back. So those are a lot of some of the sacrifices that they made as far as academics, as far as athletics. Hawaii at that time had some attention for football. We produced Jesse Sapolu, we produced Aaron Francisco, we produced a bunch of other guys, Pisa Tino Samoa, like a bunch of guys that came out that had a lot of success. But there was really no pipeline that was established just yet. So in order for us to get some exposure, as football players, as kids, we had to come to the mainland. And so I was talking to my sister about this the other day, about how I always feel like I'm in debt to my sisters, my siblings, because they're the ones who sold the laulau. So I don't know, do you know what a laulau is?
No.
So a laulau is this Hawaiian delicacy, okay? It's some pork that's wrapped in luau leaves, taro leaves, and then they steam it.
Yeah.
So the boys in Well Fit Hawaii probably know a lot about that,
Yeah.
So it's something that everybody in Hawaii loves, and it's one of the main things that people sell for fundraisers.
Yeah.
And so in order to make money to send me to the mainland to go to these football camps, we would sell these laulaus. And let me tell you, I didn't sell a lot of the laulaus. My siblings did.
Yeah.
So they did all the work, majority of the work, to send just their older brother to these camps so that he could fulfill his dream. And so, there's so many sacrifices that have been made on my behalf from my family, and that's why, I'm so indebted to them.
Yeah. That's Hawaiian culture though too, right? Because like you're on an island, you're not really going anywhere, right? And so like you could go to the beach, but you all go as a family, right? I feel like the family unit is very strong in Hawaii. Is that right?
Well, that's exactly what it is, and I think it should be that everywhere. That's what makes Hawaii special, and I think as we all grow older and whatever, we start to understand that family dynamic.
Yeah.
And majority of the time as we grow up, we're like, man, I wish I would have spent more time here, or I wish I didn't go to the movies or go sleep over at my friend's house. At least for me, I always wanted to spend more time with my siblings, and two of my sisters are getting married, and so even more so, I'm just like, man, where's all the time gone? Now there's no sleepovers. There's none of that. I'm 28, and I'm like, you guys want to come visit me in San Diego? So the family dynamic definitely in Hawaii is something that's special, and not hopefully, but I definitely will continue that with my own.
Absolutely. I want to go back to adversity, or at least things not going your way. So it didn't go that way in New York that night. It didn't go that way, national championship. How do you overcome adversity or things like not going like you want them to go? How do you do that?
Well, the way you do it is you make it your friend.
What do you mean?
Whenever adversity comes and whenever adversity strikes, fear, anxiety, doubt, helplessness, anything like that, I've learned that I'm a faith-based guy. I grew up Christian. I grew up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and everything about our family was always centered around God.
Yeah.
And as I grew up and learned that sometimes adversity is the thing that we need to mold us into the guy, girl that God wants us to be.
Yeah.
That's the only way. It's the refiner's fire. You need to go through something to refine yourself, to come out on the back end as that person that God may need you to inspire somebody or to reach out and lend a helping hand to somebody else. And it's because it's not necessarily because of your talents, but it's because of the things that you overcame that have put you in that position to be like, hey, now I can bend down, I can help you, and I can help you, So whenever adversity struck, whether when I think about losing the Heisman, that's no adversity, bro. You know what I mean? Like that was more of a shot to my ego. I'm like, oh man, I was so close. I won it on the video game, but you know what I mean? I was so close to winning it. But definitely things that have come up in anybody's life, just look at it, address it for what it is.
Yeah.
Turn it on its head and use it for your benefit, because the only way that you can get stronger is that you get tested. The only way I get stronger in the weight room is that I lift weights that I can't lift.
Yeah.
If I keep lifting the weights that I know I can get, I'm never going to get stronger.
Yeah.
The only way I can get stronger is to break down, and then I can build back. And so I try to make it my friend, and it usually is my friend. It becomes my best friend.
I love it. I want to go back to, I'm always curious like how one picks a school, sports stars, how they pick a school, and especially you sharing, grew up Latter-day Saints. You go to Notre Dame. What's the story behind Notre Dame? Because I got to imagine California was closer for your family, so you could have gone anywhere. You were coming out of Hawaii as one of the top-rated recruits out of Hawaii. So you could have gone anywhere. Right. How do you pick Notre Dame?
So for that story, I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to backtrack to 6th grade, and it's important that I start with this story because it'll give some a backstory to how I came about and why I was so strong on my decision on Notre Dame.
Okay.
So 6th grade, you guys may think this is crazy, but 6th grade, we're coming to the tail end of my 6th grade year, and at my elementary school, they always had like a little field trip that they took out 6th graders for graduating from elementary school.
Okay.
And that year, they took us to the water park. And water park, you probably think like, man, you're on an island, you're surrounded by water. You know what I mean? Like, for us, like, water park was like Disneyland.
Okay.
It slides and all of that stuff. So that was the field trip at the end of the year. And so one day I came into my dad's room, and I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, it's like, can you sign this permission slip so that I can go to the water park with my class? And my dad, I got to talk to him about it, because I don't know if he had, if he knew the impact of this little experience that we're about to have. But it paid dividends when I chose my college. So he told me, before he signed it, he's like, why don't you go and pray about it? So I'm like, okay, what am I, 12, 13 years old?
But this is a simple decision.
Right.
Interesting.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I go in my room, and I get on my knees, and I say a quick prayer, and I kid you not, I felt like the answer was no.
Wow.
That I shouldn't go. And so I'm bawling, I'm crying, and I have the same, reaction that you just say, man, it's just a field trip.
Yeah.
Everybody's going.
Yeah.
I'm 12, 13 years old, like, what's the big deal? Why can't I go?
Yeah.
But I knew in my heart that I felt like the answer was no. And so I go in the room, and I'm bawling, and my dad was like, okay, what was your answer? And I told him, I was like, oh, I think it was no. And he's like, okay, what do you think? And I'm begging my dad, I was like, Dad, but please, like, let me go. And he's like, your answer was no, though.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So he was like, just go to sleep. He's like, we'll talk about it later. I go to sleep, I wake up, go to school. I'm at recess, and I remember I see my dad walking on campus. Now, my mom was a counselor at my elementary school, and so I thought that he was just visiting my mom.
Yeah.
But he comes up on the recess field, and he's motioning at me to come see him. So I'm running to him, and he hands me the permission slip, and it's signed. And he hands me the permission slip, and he says, listen, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to get on your knees and pray. The hardest thing to do is to go through with the answer that you get.
Yeah, man.
And so, like, I'm 12, 13. Yeah. I'm like, thanks, Dad. Like, I'm really not listening to him. I just got the yes to go on this field trip. I'm like, thank you. I run and show him my friends, like, look, I'm going. Because I just cried to them that morning, like, oh, I'm not going, bro.
Yeah.
And so I'm crying. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to this thing. And my dad smiles and he walks off. I go to the field trip, live life, whatever. Okay, now let's go to college. The college decision. I grew up a huge USC fan.
Yeah.
And that me going to Notre Dame just like, it's totally,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's the most prestigious Catholic school in the world.
Yeah.
I'm a huge USC fan. They don't like Notre Dame. You know what I mean? So I grew up a huge USC fan. Reggie Bush is probably one of my favorite athletes of all time. And thanks to all the sacrifices that my parents made, I was one of the top players in the country.
Yeah.
I had over 30 offers to go to like any
school.
Division I school, whatever. And I went on my top 5: Notre Dame, BYU, USC, UCLA, and Stanford.
Okay.
So if you know, 3 out of the 5 were all on the West Coast.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Utah with BYU.
That makes sense.
Yeah, my ties.
Yeah.
Notre Dame just had that, you know, they had that feel, you know, that when I opened up that envelope and I saw that gold helmet logo, there was just something that was different about it, you know. And even for me being a USC fan, I was just like, oh, there's something different about this. So got down to those 5. So we're talking USC and Notre Dame. I go on my Notre Dame visit. It's around Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving. End of November. I fly to, I'm a local boy in Hawaii.
Okay.
I fly to Chicago O'Hare Airport.
Yep.
I lift up the window shade and there's snow everywhere.
You're in flip-flops,
I'm in
right?
jean shorts, a t-shirt, and I'm just like, dude, I'm underdressed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna freeze out there, you know? So that was my first experience. Like, I've been in snow before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
in Hawaii, you can't go to a Walmart and they have like a thick coat.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna buy that because you don't need that in Hawaii. So there's no way that I could get anything. Anyway, I go on my Notre Dame visit. It's their senior game. They're playing Syracuse.
Okay.
In 2008, Syracuse was the worst, or one of the worst as far as record, football programs in the country. And they're playing Notre Dame for senior night. So I'm there for it. It's freezing cold. It's the coldest recorded game in Notre Dame history, that game. I leave, Coach Weiss, hopefully he don't see this, but I leave the game at halftime because it's so cold.
Yeah.
I left the game. I went to the football complex, and I brought out 2 TVs. One TV I had the NCAA video game, the football video game.
Yep.
And the other TV I had, like right to my left like this, I had the game on, just in case Coach Weiss asked me, Charlie Weiss was the head coach at the time.
Yeah.
Just in case he asked me about the game. So I'm really playing. I'm watching the game. They're losing to Syracuse.
Yeah.
2 minutes left in the game. I said, okay, it's time I walk back. So I walk back. I walk back to the stadium, and I'm standing in the tunnel, and I'm watching the end of the game, and they lose. Immediately after they lose, the whole stadium starts throwing snowballs at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
In their home stadium. So I'm like, man, there's no way I'm coming here.
Yeah.
Man. Like, there's
your tail
no way.
off.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. Fast forward to the last week in January, I go on my USC visit. And it's like a recruiting weekend. So they bring in all the top recruits and, you know, like red carpet, like all of that. And I have a blast. Like, I meet Ray Maulunga, like one of the guys that I looked to, like in my high school career, that was a linebacker at USC, one of my good friends now. I met him. I met a whole bunch of guys. Troy Polamalu's, you know, his pictures are everywhere. You know, Reggie Bush is over there. You know, his well, at that time, his stuff was over there. And I'm just like, wow, you know, I'm here. I just had a blast. But before I went on that trip, so I left on that trip Friday. Before I left on that trip, so signing day was the next Wednesday.
Okay.
Friday, signing day is always the first Wednesday in February. So that's how I know all the dates of when I went. So before I left, my dad sat me down and he said, when you come back, I hadn't committed anywhere yet. He said, when you come back, we're going to talk it as a family and we're going to decide where you're going to go. I said, all right, cool. I leave Friday. I get back Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. But all I remember is Sunday we had that talk. So
Yeah.
I'm home Sunday. And
Yeah.
so we're sitting in our living room as a family. And my dad just simply says, so, where's it going to be? And I told him straight up, I was like, I'm going to USC.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, pray about it. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Monday comes, I go to school. Same thing. I'm telling my friends, I think I'm
USC.
going to go to USC.
Yep.
I think I'm going to go to USC. I think I'm going to go to USC. Hour half, remember, it's hour half away from where we live, my high school. My dad picks us up from school on Monday. He drives us home. He's like, so you still solid on USC? I said, yep. He's like, did you pray about it? I was like, nope. He's like, make sure you pray about it.
You were afraid of the answer, man.
Yeah. Well, it was more that I was so solid on that I was going to go to
Yeah.
USC.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily like I was scared of what the answer. I was just like, I know.
Yeah. You
I
were
know for
convicted.
myself, this is where I'm going. Tuesday comes. So, bro, remember, signing day's on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday comes, we're going to school, and my dad says, have you prayed about it yet? I say, no, not yet. He's like, son, signing day's tomorrow.
It's getting close.
He's like, make sure you pray about it. I said, oh, okay, I'll pray about it. We go to school. And I'm sitting in English class, and we're watching Dead Poets Society.
Yep.
And as I'm watching that movie, I can't tell you what it's about really, but I can tell you that I could relate to the boy and how his dad wants him to do this. He wants to do this. It wasn't my dad who wanted me to do nothing. It was just, I felt like USC wants me to go here. Notre Dame wants me to go here. My coaches want me to go here. My uncle wants me to go here. So I felt that pull. And in the middle of class, I got this impression, say a prayer. So, high school, lights are off a little bit. You have that little, they roll out, like kids nowadays don't know the struggle. They roll out the little, the TV on top of the stand.
Yeah,
There's no thing just, there's there's no like PowerPoint thing that comes down anymore. They roll the TV out in the stand. It was the shape of a box. Kids don't know that TVs were once like a box,
Yep.
And so I literally like close my eyes and I say a quick prayer, and I just basically ask, I say, Heavenly Father, like, I want to go to USC. Is that the place that you want me to go? And I say, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And it felt like, as I look back, it felt like immediately when I said amen, my phone rings. And I look at it, it's my dad. And I let it go to voicemail. And so like, I lean over and I'm listening to my phone, in the middle of the movie. And basically my dad just says, hey son, the Notre Dame coaches just emailed. Just wanted to wish you luck tomorrow. Hope you do well, but they know that wherever you go, you'll be successful. Love you. See you after school. Bye. Class ends. I walk up to the athletic department. Now, my head coach, Kale Ane, his name is Kale Ane. His dad, Charlie Ane, is in the USC Hall of Fame for football. So I walk into his office and I'm like, man, I'm about to talk ball with this man. He's like, come on. He's like, let's talk. So I walk in there. He's like, so where we going? And I told him, I think I'm going to go to USC. And when they said that, I guess I had a different picture of what his reaction would be. But he kind of just nodded his head and was like, okay. So, okay, yeah, congratulations, And I was kind of like, all right, and I asked him, he was like, who else was it, who else was on your decision? Who else were you trying to decide with? And I was like, well, basically them and Notre Dame. He's like, ooh, Notre Dame. Just like that.
Wow.
He's like, oh, okay. He's like, and he said something to the effect of, I thought you would go to Notre Dame. You seem like a Notre Dame type of guy.
Wow.
From a head coach.
Yeah, whose father went to USC.
Right. So I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you're going to love it, whatever. So I step out of his office, and right next to his office is the assistant AD. And so I'm walking past there, and I walk into the assistant AD. He comes, come on, man. Energetic guy. come on. So I walk in there. And he's like, where are we going tomorrow? Where are we going tomorrow? I tell him, man, I think I'm going to USC. He's like, oh, wow, really? He's like, that's cool. Same question. He's like, who was it down to? I was like, oh, well, USC and Notre Dame. And he was like, oh. He's like, I don't know if you ever heard of the Notre Dame alumni program, but that those Notre Dame, that alum is, that group of alum is just strong, and they have influences everywhere. And so I'm sitting at this, I'm looking at this man, and I'm like, okay. He's like, hey, USC got a good alumni program too, though. He's like, you'll be good. Good decision.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So I walk out of there, and the last office, my Uncle Gary, his name is Gary Satterwhite, black guy. I call him Uncle because he's one of those guys that he was there for me while I was at Punahou. That's the name of my high school. And he was kind of that guy that kind of always encouraged me and took me under his wing. He was a track coach. And he put me in, and he sat me down, and he's like, where are we going, nephew? I told him, man, Uncle G, before I walked into this office, I was kind of solid on USC. He said, what do you mean? I was like, well, I just talked to Coach Kale, and I talked to the assistant AD, and, I just got this feeling like, I don't know. He was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, why do you keep bringing up Notre Dame? And he's like, well, who are you down to? I was like, well, I was sold on USC, but, I kind of was thinking about it was kind of between them and Notre Dame. And he was like, I'm gonna tell you something. Where you wanna go? He said, I think I wanna go to USC. He said, okay. He's like, I love you. He's like, I treat you like my son.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to USC, and you're gonna be the next great Polynesian football player. You're gonna be the next Junior Seau. You're gonna be the next Troy Polamalu. You're gonna be the next Ray Maulunga. I just always thought you'd go to a place like Notre Dame and be the only Manti Te'o. And he just smiled at me and said, whatever you decide, I know that you'll make the right decision. I hugged him. I told him I loved him. And literally, right when I walked out of that office door, it hit me like a ton of bricks that I just gave you your answer. School finishes. I'm sitting, I'm quiet, because I just got the answer.
Yeah.
That I know where I'm supposed to go. 6th grade boy, I got the answer that I know where I'm supposed to go. I asked if I could go to the water park.
Yep.
No. Dad told me sometimes the easiest thing to do is pray. The hardest thing is to follow through with the answer you get. Fast forward, I'm 18. I just got my answer. I want to go to USC.
Yeah.
We're sitting in the car on the way home. We're about halfway in the drive, and my dad starts, okay, tomorrow we got to wake up early because, we have to go to the convention center for the signing, and I got the hats, and, we got to he's just going through all the details of tomorrow, and he's like, you got to grab the USC. And in the middle of the drive, I said, I'm not going to USC. Puts it in park, and I remember it was in Kahalu'u. Is this town in Hawaii that's kind of the midpoint between Laie and Punahou. And he looks at me, he's like, what do you mean you're not going to USC? I was like, I'm not going to USC. And he looked at me, he's like, you prayed about it, didn't you? I said, yeah. He said, okay, so where are we going? I said, I'm going to Notre Dame. He gave me a hug, we were crying in the car. I think he was crying because he was proud. I was crying because it was the different, it wasn't the decision that I wanted.
Yeah.
But from that moment on, I knew, and I was so solid on that answer that the next morning, so I made a point to call every college that offered me, and to give them that call and say, hey, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm decided to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
The only other team that I didn't call was USC. USC and Notre Dame were the only two schools that I didn't call.
Yeah.
And so I called USC that morning. And I'm talking to Pete Carroll, I'm talking to Ken Norton, who was the linebacker coach at that time. And you gotta remember, like Pete Carroll, USC, like that was the dynasty of college football.
Yeah.
You know, like that was it.
I don't know how you told him no, but keep going, man.
So we jump in the car, and the convention center was kind of where my high school is at. And so it's another hour 15 to get there, you know? So I'm on the phone from 6 a.m. in the morning with the USC head coaches, and they're telling me like, what are you doing? Man, we had all of these plans. Like, what are you doing? What else do you want? Like, you're going to be our linebacker. Like, you're not going to be able to turn around that program, blah, 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 blah. But I knew for some reason when you get that confirmation that you know that God wants you to do this, you can't, there's no swaying me.
Yeah.
And so I was on the phone, bro, all the way to right before I stepped into the doors to go sign. Like, I'm like, Coach, I'm sorry. Good luck. I'll see you every year. And I hand the phone over to my mom, and I walk in there and I sign.
Wow.
And at that time, even as I was signing those papers, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? It didn't take long for me to start to see why.
Yeah.
My sophomore year, I started to see, end of my freshman year, I spent majority of my freshman year homesick. End of my freshman year, I started to realize, and I started to let Notre Dame become a part of me. And I started to see that that could possibly be home for me. 4 years later, I look back at that career, bro, and I'm like, only God could do that.
Yeah.
You know, only he could do that right there. Like,
Man,
special.
Do you think, like, because you've aged, right? Like, we've all aged since that time. But do you think, like, it's getting easier to see the signs from God, or just in things, or for you as you've aged, like, can you see it better now, these signs, or not?
Well,
what do you think?
You know, I would say this: we all go through phases in our life, you know, and I always feel like when I'm listening to the side of the world, like the noise, the luxury, the glamour, the lights, all of that, I can't hear him. I need to be listening to him. Like your best friend, your mom, your dad, you could be in the middle of a war, and you will always hear that. Your mom or your dad say something, you're like, oh, they're here. We've all been in that situation. Why is that? Because we talk with them all the time. Because I talk to them all the time, I don't necessarily need to see them to know that, oh, they're in the room. It's the same thing with my communication with God.
Yeah.
If I talk to you all the time, I'll know that voice. If I don't, how am I supposed to know and distinguish that voice between all the other ones? And especially in a society nowadays where the outside voices are so loud now, you know, like Instagram, Facebook, social media. You don't have a job. You need a job. You got to go play the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many distractions now that if you just anchor yourself to the man, to your Savior, Jesus, I promise you, like, out of everybody in this world I know, besides my parents, he, even more so than my parents, he wants the best for me.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what I can be. He knows my strengths, my weaknesses.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants me to be, and he knows where he wants me to go in this life. And sometimes we're like, man, I want to go here.
Yep.
I want to be this.
Yeah.
I want to be the highest paid linebacker in the NFL. I want to be a Super Bowl champ. I want to invest in Olive Fans commercials. You know, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to go to USC.
Yeah.
No, bro, you're going to go to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You know? No, you're going to tear your Achilles. No, you're going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He always finds a way to just say, hey, focus up, man. I want you to go here.
Yeah.
This is where, oh, I want to go. No. Here, you know, so.
Yeah.
That's.
I ask because, like, I feel like as I've gotten older, I've been maybe more open to the signs, whereas before, like, I was tripped up by other things. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. Yeah. And so I was curious if that, you know, was your case.
The thing sometimes that I think we sometimes forget is I say my prayers in the morning and at night.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing what I would do back then was, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen, get up and walk. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen, go to sleep. Sometimes take a few minutes to just sit there and listen.
Mm-hmm.
You just ask the man. Give him a chance to answer you. You know, you ask him the question, let him answer you. Sometimes we just like, amen, and we just go throughout our day.
Yeah.
Listen. Go throughout your day and see when you have that lens of God is trying to communicate with me at all times, who am I listening to? Am I listening to him, or am I listening to all of these people, all of these distractions, diamonds, jewelry, Rolls Royce? Am I listening to that?
Yeah.
You know, who am I listening to? If I listen to them, I promise you that's all I'm going to hear. If I listen to him, that voice for some reason gets a little quieter. It never goes mute. You can never mute that. And just like how you can never mute this, but they go a little quieter and you become a little more sensitive to what he wants. So after you pray, just sit there and listen, bro. Just, okay. You don't hear something? Okay. Maybe it's not that time yet.
Got it.
Continue.
Got it. Manti, you drafted 38 overall by the San Diego Superchargers.
Yep.
Had a stint with the New Orleans Saints. I'm curious, I know you're a man that learns from others. You're a leader, you're a captain on the field. What has your experience in the NFL and what have you learned from others that are there? What do you take away?
Yeah, I think I've taken things from certain players and I've kind of brought it in and kind of created a better me. Mm-hmm. I'll never adopt fully somebody else and try to mimic what they do because I can't do what they do, but I'll take something and make it a part of me. Eric Weddle is I call him Big Brother. Probably the most influential guy for me in the NFL. He's also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So even more so, like we talk about those two worlds.
Yeah.
NFL, there's all the stereotypes. And honestly, there's some that kind of fit that stereotype, mm-hmm. and there's some that don't. But I'm a kid, I was broke, and now within days, now I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
I have Eric Weddle over here saying, hey, let me show you what this looks like. Let me show you what this means. Mm-hmm. Let me walk you down this path. And so he was the guy that helped me to not only stay true to my faith in a football locker room, but he showed me what it meant to be a pro.
Yeah.
Like he showed me that work starts at 7 a.m. and it ends at 5 p.m. That's for everybody. The great ones stay from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Or they come in at 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. and so mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, I had my success in college football. I had my success, prior to that. So I'm not a stranger to hard work. I'm not a stranger to sacrifice. That's what got me there.
Yeah.
But that was another detail about, dude, outworking everybody. You're not trying to you gotta outwork him. You're not trying to outwork the Broncos, the Raiders. You're trying to outwork the guy that's in the locker room with you, that's trying to take your spot.
Yeah.
So he was one of those guys that taught me how to study film more efficiently. There's thousands of plays, bro. Like imagine going through thousands of all those plays and they're all different. He taught me his way of structuring those plays so they all make sense.
Yeah.
So they're all in order. So they all kind of tell a story. Then Dwight Freeney comes along, and Dwight Freeney was with us with the Chargers. And Dwight Freeney, I was studying all of this, and he was like, bro, don't study too much because there's a thing called paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
He's like, you study so much, you go out on the field and you're just, oh. That little slight hesitation is going to cost you. Mm-hmm. Study enough so that you can play fast. That's when you know when to stop. Don't say, I'm going to study for 2 hours. I'm going to study for 3 hours. I'm going to study for 30 minutes. Study until it makes sense. Once it makes sense, then stop, regardless of how long it takes. Then you move forward. So Dwight Freeney was one of those guys. Jarrett Johnson was another one of those guys, long time with the Ravens. Outside linebacker, played with Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
About just work ethic. Guy was, I think he was in year 11, 12. I'm year 2, 3. And this guy is running backs down, like chasing after him after the play, all the way down to the end zone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if that old man is running, I better run over there, you know? But
yeah.
he consistently showed. It wasn't just like, oh, one practice, I'm gonna do it every day. And so I learned a lot from different people. Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What's it like?
Oh, man. Let me tell you, that guy's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Okay, so Drew Brees. Drew is the first one in, like, you heard it before.
Yep.
But he's the epitome of it. He's the first one in the building, and he's the last one out. The thing that I took with from Drew is Drew's ability to visualize. Drew Brees has this, he meditates and visualizes things so well. So Saturday, the day before the game, we're doing a walkthrough. We always have a walkthrough. We play Sunday, watch the film Monday, day off Tuesday, but the day off Tuesday is we all come in, work out, and watch film. So it's really, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's really no day off. It's just a day off from working out and whatever. Wednesday is our first day of practice.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday is our second day where we do third down. Friday, usually they start to taper it down a little bit. Saturday, walkthrough.
Yep.
Sunday, let's go fly, you know. Saturday, we're in there on the walkthrough, and one of the days after the walkthrough, I decide by how I'm feeling, I was like, man, I need to get a sweat. You know, I need to get a sweat before this game. Like, I feel like I'm a little lethargic, I'm a little heavy, I need to feel light. So I go in the weight room, and I'm just on the, I'm on the treadmill, and I'm jogging. And it's about 30, 40 minutes after the walkthrough. I finish my little workout. I walk over, and the door out of the weight room is right next to the door to the indoor facility at the Saints. So you can see, like right before I walk out this door, I'm looking, and I can see the indoor facility through the windows. And I look, and I see one guy there, and he has a red jersey on, it's number 9. And he's in there, and he's walking around. And so, I don't want to disturb him. So I kind of open the door, and I walk into the indoor facility, and I close it behind me, and I kind of sit, and I just watch. And this man starts off at the 10-yard line. He gets down on the knee, and he's looking up like this, like as if he's in a huddle. Claps, breaks the huddle, comes out, and he starts pointing like as if there's a defense out there. He's like, he starts checking with receivers that aren't there.
Right.
Goes through a progression, and Drew Brees, he'll go through the progression, and he'll act like he'll go through the throwing motion, but wherever he throws the ball, he'll immediately start pivoting to his other options. So he'll throw it here, but then he'll pivot and he'll go like this down the line to his other receivers. Run 10 yards, stand, get the call, point out the signal to his receivers, boom, go back, boom, boom, boom. How you can tell by just watching him whether it's a deep pass, medium pass, or short pass, because he tilts his shoulders as if he's really throwing the ball.
Yeah.
So like he'll go like this, he'll go like this, he'll go like this. So you can, okay, when he did that, I'm watching him, I was like, oh, that's a check down. Okay, boom, he probably just hit Ted Ginn.
Yeah.
For a seam route. Boom, he probably just hit Michael Thomas on a little 10-yard dig. So he starts going, and remember, after he throws the ball, he starts going through his progressions like this, like a gun, just boom, 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 boom. And he does it all the way down the field.
Man.
He gets down to the opposite 10. He hits somebody, and he goes like this. He puts his hands up as if he really scored a touchdown. He goes like that and starts running back. And I'm in awe.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, it's my first year with the Saints, and I'm in awe of this man. I'm like, he is probably one of the greatest to ever play the game. His numbers and stats speak for themselves. I know him on a personal level, one of the best human beings that I've ever met, one of the most fiercest competitors, and he's out here there's nobody else out here. He's the captain of our team.
Yeah.
And everybody were gone eating Jimmy John's because he's a part owner of Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
We're all in there eating Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
And he's out here visualizing stuff so what do? He leaves. I'm like, okay, my turn.
I love it.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be like, okay, if Drew's doing it, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Is that what we talked about before the show? Like, you don't know who's watching you.
Yeah.
You don't know anybody. You don't know. You better bring, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Manti, you mentioned Drew as a leader. You're a leader. You're a captain. And you got a lot of personalities in the NFL. Some rightly so, some not. How did you manage, or how do you manage, and how do you motivate others? Because we've got a lot of entrepreneurs that come in. Everyone that comes in interacts with somebody, your family member, your coworkers. How did you manage different people? How did you communicate with different members of the team?
You have to get to know each individual on a personal level. There's no way that I can lead you if I don't know what motivates you. You know, I always say that I got to look at what makes you tick. Why do you do what you do? What's special to you? What motivates you? If I can do that, now I know how to motivate you.
Yeah.
My leadership style is to make everybody feel a part of something. I think the best leaders aren't the guys who kind of follow, like who kind of say, hey, follow me.
Yeah.
I think the best leaders are the guys who empower the individual to chase after the same things. This is what we want. Let's all go. Not, hey, I'm over here, you come over here.
Yeah.
You know, so finding out what makes sense to you, what's special to you, because what's special to you may be different to so-and-so over here, or Drew, or Michael Thomas, or Demario Davis, Craig Robertson, Alex Anzalone. No, everybody's different.
Yeah.
And so as a leader, I want everybody to feel that they are important, because they are. Now, once you make them feel important, and once you make them feel like included, now you can be like, okay, now I got all the dogs with me.
Yeah.
And now they'll go wherever I want them to go.
Yep.
Let's go get a championship. You know, let's go get this commercial real estate project. Let's wealth fit. Let's inspire. As long as you got a team.
Yeah.
I don't know who said it, but there's that quote that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. You're definitely going to get there, but you won't get far. You want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
So that's always been me.
Manti, I want to talk a little money. This is the Get Wealth Fit show. So you hear the stories. Guys come into a lot of money, overnight millionaires. Guys leave the NFL. Couple years after, the money's gone. You've taken a proactive approach in investing in your education. How so? Like, how did you make that decision to not become a statistic?
Yeah, it goes back to my parents, to seeing their sacrifices, and to having that. When you come up a certain way, there's a certain mentality that you don't want to go back. You know, I don't want to go back to that. Not that I'm ashamed of where it came, because I never felt like I was without. You know, I never felt like we didn't have or anything like that. I knew that mom and dad busted their tails, like I said, to give us everything that they could, and they did. I just knew as a son of them, and as the oldest in my family, that it was my obligation to not only take myself, my whole family, and get us out of that. So they definitely planted that seed. Now, talking about adversities. So I got a wake-up call when I tore my Achilles. So my 4th year with the Chargers, so I got my nicks and bruises in college and all of that.
Nothing serious.
Nothing serious. I never missed one game in college. Played every game in college. Never missed a game. Never missed, like, anything. I get to the NFL. My first preseason game against the Seattle Seahawks, I break my foot. First huge injury that I ever had. I'm out for a few weeks. They're like, okay, we'll just rest you for like 6 weeks. let it heal up, can play.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bone ain't gonna heal up like that. So I played the rest of that season with a fractured foot, got surgery on it at the end of the year, got it fixed, came back the next day. I sprained and I kind of re-fractured that same foot. Played through that my second year. My third year, high ankle sprain, right foot. Same, everything is on my right. For some reason, everything.
Yeah.
High ankle sprain on my right foot. Okay, drawback there. Fourth year. Now the fourth year was my contract year. Signed a 4-year deal. Contract year is a big year.
Yeah.
You ball,
Yeah. You get paid.
you get paid. I'm the captain of my team. My defensive coordinator tells me, I just spoke to the GM. You play 16 games. That's how many regular season games we have. You say, you play 16 games? We'll take care of you. Just play 16. So, all right. I came in that year in the best shape of my life. I was grinding like Rocky Balboa type, like old school.
Yeah.
Grinding. Checked into training camp. I'm about 5 pounds, 6 pounds lighter. I'm flying around. I had 4 years in that system, so it's like I know it like the back of my hand. I feel like I'm in college again, and I'm making calls. First game, we lose against Kansas City, but I had statistically a good game. Second game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, we won that game at home. Still had a good game. I think I had in those 2 games, I think I had 18 tackles total. So we're off to a good start. Third game comes, we're playing the Colts in Indy. It's the beginning of the second quarter. I think I already have 4 tackles. And I'm in my zone. I drop back in my zone, and it was either the tight end or the running back. I see him sneaking out to the flat to my right. And right when I saw that, I saw Andrew Luck turn to go throw the ball to him. Right when I saw him turn, I planted my left foot. And right when I planted my left foot, pop. And right when that happened, I just started bawling. And I started bawling not because of the pain. I started bawling because all those years, I've been playing football since I was 5 years old. My dad had been training me since I was 5. So my dad, growing up, I've never been to San Diego Zoo. Everybody in San Diego is like, why haven't you been to the zoo? There's a story behind that. When I was little, every summer, my parents, my mom, we would all go to town, and my mom would take us kids to the zoo. It felt like every Saturday in the summer, and my dad would go summer. And I was like, man, where's Dad going? How come we're coming to the zoo every week, seeing the same monkey spinning around the tree, and Dad's going summer, you know? Come to find out, Dad was going to coaching clinics, trying to teach himself how to be the best coach for me.
Wow. And
so we were doing that since 5 years old. So I tear my Achilles and I'm face down on the turf, and those memories since I was 5 years old just start flashing before my eyes, and I'm just like, I'm going back. I'm going back to that place where I said I'll never go back to. And I already knew that it was torn. We go to the locker room, they tell me it's torn. I said, all right, how long is the recovery? It's like, you're done. You're done. You're not gonna be yourself probably for another 8 months, 8 to 12. So I'm kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do? It's my contract here. I've been hurt half of my career. Who's gonna pick me up? Football could be over.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I believe it was Instagram, and I see an advertisement for Fortune Builders. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to the thing. I go to the little seminar they had, and I'm sold.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I got to do this.
Yeah.
And so that's what started the whole Fortune Builder thing. I went there, and it was funny because I'm sitting there, and everybody's kind of looking like, dude, what are you doing here? You know, San Diego, the Charger fans are like, dude, what are you doing here? You know, and I'm sitting there, I'm just trying to learn. And man, adversities, you know.
Yeah.
Had I not torn my Achilles, I would not be sitting here. You know, you see how that
It's
all
crazy.
works.
Yeah.
I would not know what I know about real estate. I would not. After this, I'm gonna go meet with Shively and talk about the commercial deal that we're about to fund. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
okay, Shively, how do I do this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's those 2 projects in Dallas and the other one that's in Austin.
Yeah.
That's coming up that we're trying to. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I'm like, let me do this. And so,
Yeah.
bro, it's just adversities turning on its head, and let's move.
I gotta ask this. This is a personal Dustin question. Sorry, everyone. You get that first check. Do you get like a check? Is it a deposit?
Yeah,
What
it's a
was
check.
it like?
It was a check.
What was it like getting that first big check?
I'll tell you this, bro. Whew. I get that check, and when I got that check, I'm like, wait, where's the other half? I look at it, and I'm like, Uncle Sam took half of my paycheck. He took a comma out. There's supposed to be 2 of those in there. There was 1 by the time it got to me.
Okay.
And so my whole thing was even more so, I'm like, okay, I gotta start educating myself on my finances and how do I make this work? How do I, at that time, how do I save? How do I save? How do I save? How do I save? Now as fortune builders, like we know, like, man, it's not necessarily about saving. It's, save, but let your money work for you. And so when I got that first check, bro, I was so excited when I opened it up. I pulled the thing out and I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute, man. There's something wrong with this check. You know, like, I'm missing a comma in this check, man. But yeah, it was a good little lesson for me about taxes and the beautiful state of California and you know, state income tax, and oh man, don't get me started.
I think that's a big lesson for everyone listening in, because we hear these numbers being thrown around, which aren't necessarily like what you get.
Right.
Plus, there's taxes on
Right.
top of it.
Right.
So even though it's a big check and everyone's like, he's got some money, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing about NFL contracts, is they're not all guaranteed.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, so when they present the contract, like on ESPN or whatever, they always present the max that they could get.
We love big numbers, baby.
Right. They're like, oh, he signed a 5-year, $30 million. What they don't show are the fine letters, all the fine print that says, okay, well, in year 1, you're gonna make $800,000. And then if you make it and we don't cut you to year 2, then you start making all your stuff in year 4, 5, 6, maybe if it's a 6, you know?
Yeah.
And also there's all these incentives. Some of them are incentive-based. My contract with the Saints was incentive-based, and I understood why, because half my career with the Chargers I was injured, so a lot of it was playing time, being healthy. So you could have made, if we play you and you start and you play these number of plays, you'll make 2 years, $7 million.
Yeah, yeah.
2 years, I left out of there about like $1 million, 1.6, 1.7, which is a lot.
Yeah,
but it could have been 7.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
everybody thinks I have 7.
Exactly,
I have 1.6, 1.7. You know, so
yeah. Manti, I could keep going. I'm having a lot of fun. I think a lot of people are getting at, but I know we got to wrap up here. I want to know, like, what do you want your legacy to be? After you're done, what do you want the world to know about you?
That he never forgot who he was. I think my dad always told me growing up, remember who you are and whose you are. Remember who you are and whose you are. You're not only our son, but you're God's son. And with those 2 things already, there's so many things that come with that. And so I know that wherever I go, I want to be able to, when people see me, they see that. You know, I don't want them to see, oh, he, NFL player, yeah, that's cool, that's what I do. But I want them to see the substance. I want them to see stuff that inspires them, that motivates them, that says, because I knew Manti, that I'm a better person, because I knew Manti and I knew not only his accomplishments, but I knew his setbacks, that now I believe him, that my setbacks, I can overcome those. You know, give people hope. You know, I don't know specifically what, like, I want people to know me as this. I just always want to be somebody that when I go around to people, that I make them better people and I make them believe in themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when people start believing in themselves, man, then you start to see like how powerful those people can become. You know, it's like how I said with my leadership, like how I lead. Like I want you to believe in you. I don't want you to believe in me. You can't believe in me if you don't believe in yourself. I want you to believe in you. And then by believing in you, then we can make some things happen. So I say my legacy is just representing who I represent. Remember that I didn't change, but also making people better people and helping them to believe in themselves and seeing how special they are as people, you know, so, yeah.
True wisdom, my man.
I appreciate
Thank you.
it, bro.
If folks want to continue the journey, just keep tabs with what you're up to in the NFL and the charity work that you do, and you know the investments maybe that you place. If you can talk about them, where do people best do that?
Man, my dad and I we've been in talks about starting our foundation, and I've always been bouncing back. I love working with children.
Yeah.
You know, I love working with children, and I for the past 2 years, a buddy of mine, Rich Power, he's worked with children with cancer, and for the past 2 years, we've done things with the Friends of Scott. I don't know if you ever heard of them before, but it's an organization that was sent around, which was made around a boy named Scott who had cancer, and the Friends of Scott Foundation is run by his mother. And every year they have this prom. And let me tell you, bro, if you ever want to be reminded of how grateful you are and how fortunate you are, go to a prom for those kids.
Got it.
I promise you, man. It is all those kids will put a smile on your face, like it'll put life in the right perspective. And so for me, like, if you ever want to reach out to me, reach out to Dustin, reach out to Than, you know.
Man.
Yeah, like reach out to anybody that knows me. You can reach out to me directly. You know, I don't really have a lot of social media presence. I have an Instagram, but I use my Instagram to mainly inspire people. Yeah. To show like a little bit about my life. You'll see a lot of my pup on there.
I noticed
dog,
that.
You know,
What's the pup's name?
Prince.
Prince.
Yeah, so that's my pride and joy. So I actually got my pup after I tore my Achilles. And he's my best friend. Yeah, so yeah.
Manti, man, thanks for being on the show. True wisdom that you shared. Wealth Fit Nation, thanks for tuning in. I want to encourage you to go follow Manti on Instagram. Keep tabs. He's doing amazing work, and you can tell he's a genuine guy. So I want to personally thank you for coming on the show, sharing your wisdom, because it's our goal to inspire and touch and move people. And I think you've done that in so many ways with your story. You've done it with you talking about investing, and that's our hope, is that people get well fit. So Manti, thanks for doing what you do.
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
being on the show.
Yes, sir.
That's it for now. If you were moved, touched, inspired by this show, man, do us a favor and share the wealth. Spread the message. Share with somebody that you think would benefit from this, somebody that needs a little motivation, somebody that maybe is not where they are in life, or maybe somebody that wants to get invested and been on the sideline. Share it up, spread the wealth, and we'll see you on the next show.